Battle for the soul of the nation.
Massive power, massive. And that's one of the things.
More than people understand?
More than people understand.
The hunger for power gets greater and greater.
Вот это разорвало.
The problem we have, the biggest problem we have in the whole world, and you're going to have a problem the likes of which the world has never seen. And it's only a matter of seconds. You don't have to wait 200 to 300 years for it to happen.
So what you're saying is demonstrably true.
It's going to be pointing the world towards an antichrist. He's going to be able to call fire down from heaven.
We should at least, we no need to rush, you know. Like, what's the hurry? Where's the fire? Fire.
He's going to be able to call fire down from heaven.
Ищи!
No need to rush. Like, what's the hurry? Where's the fire?
To find out what exactly these bright lights in the sky are.
There may be it may be wise to have some sort of contingency plan where the government's got an ability to shut down power to these server centers. Like, you don't have to blow it up, you can just cut the power.
After the latest accident during a training flight, investigators are on their way to the scene after 2 Apache helicopters crashed yesterday in Alaska, killing 3 soldiers and seriously injuring a 4th.
We're told it isn't rare for this to happen, but it is rare to see so much of it all together at one time.
We will defeat Joe Biden in 2024.
MAGA forces are determined to take this country backward.
Most of us depend on banks to keep our money safe, but some consumers say when they needed their money, their bank held it for days, sometimes weeks.
The stand down was ordered after 2 Apaches returning from gunnery practice to their base near Fairbanks, Alaska, collided in midair.
Bank customers from big banks, different ones, all with similar stories. So their banks closed their accounts or held their money for weeks with no explanation.
We will rescue our economy. We will crush inflation. We will stop the invasion on our southern border.
Backwards to an America where there is no right to choose.
On its people, on its laws, on its most sacred values.
I mean, if democracy is, government by the people, each person's vote is equal to every other person's vote. I mean, and people are choosing their votes freely. Can you have a democracy with this?
Well, that's why I raised the concern of AI being a significant influence in elections. And even if you say that AI doesn't have agency, well, it's very likely that people will use the AI as a tool in elections. And then, if the AI is smart enough, are they using the tool or is the tool using them? So I think things are getting weird, and they're getting weird fast.
The deadliest involved a mid-air collision between 2 medevac helicopters flying at night. The other happened in broad daylight, when a Black Hawk belonging to the Tennessee National Guard just seemed to fall out of the sky.
He come down on the nose and the nose caved in, but he was already starting to flip upside down when he hit.
We were not prepared for any of this. There's UFO activity. There's talk of entities and demons and winged creatures and just all kinds of weird, just paranormal, demonic activity following this ritual. The Whore of Babylon was what they were trying to bring about. They believed what we believed, in that America was the final Babylon. Like, this was the revived Babylon. They believed it, and they were occultists. We're Christians, and we believe it. There's evidence to back this up. But yes, let's backtrack just for a second. What happened was they opened up this portal, they created a rift, and entities began to come through. Not just this Whore of Babylon being birthed.
Preparing for that is really key, right? To make sure that you're not outside when these things start to come down, or unfortunately, maybe even worse severe weather with those systems.
Something strange is happening in my beloved home state of Texas, where someone or something is mutilating cattle. 3 different counties, 6 cows have been found dead, with each scene more grisly than the next.
Tonight, this highway dust storm turning deadly in Illinois. State police say dozens of vehicles crashed along a major highway south of the state capital this morning.
The cause of the crash is due to excessive winds blowing dirt from farm fields across the highway, leading to zero visibility.
At least 6 people killed, with over 30 taken to the hospital and 2 semi-trailers catching fire, according to officials.
At this time, our numbers that we have are approximately 20 commercial motor vehicles and 40 to 60 passenger cars involved in the crash.
Well, I mean, I guess if we lost control of some super AI.
No right to privacy, no right to contraception, no right to marry who you love.
Like for some reason, like the things that would normally work to do a passive shutdown, like the administrator passwords, if they somehow stop working.
We will restore our nation's dignity, and we will prevent World War III from happening.
Where we can't slow down or you know, I'm not sure, I don't have a precise answer, but if there's something that we're concerned about,
there's nothing that flies that high. So the odds of it being a military aircraft doing high G loads like that, it's impossible. It's either artificial or biological.
And are unable to stop it with software commands, then we probably want to have some kind of hardware off switch.
Yes.
I think, you know, can't hurt.
Russia's sitting back. First of all, Ukraine's being obliterated.
Yes.
Okay, let's not even talk nuclear. But let's say it wasn't. Let's say they were doing better than anticipated.
The entire system is designed to respond to the sole decision of the president.
Joe Biden has launched an assault on the soul of America.
But there is still a potential for war over Taiwan, though at the moment all sides insist they do want to avoid it.
I hope I'm not going to be right about World War III.
Are proving that truth is stranger than fiction.
That the president could be a threat to national security.
It's not a satellite, it's not a meteor.
There's actually very little to stop them.
It's an insult to our country as the world is already laughing at us.
The existential threat we face right now in this country is the threat of nuclear war.
And now is a time when things are shifting. There's going to be a new world order out there. And we've got to lead it. And we've got to unite the rest of the free world in doing it.
So for me to answer that question, well, what are you going to do, in the next election? I can't even think that far ahead, because we have people talking very carelessly about, well, we'll use tactical nukes here. We can go to nuclear war, as though they forget what Ronald Reagan said.
When you stop to think that we're all God's children, wherever we may live in the world, I couldn't help but say to him, just think how easy his task and mine might be in these meetings that we held if suddenly there was a threat to this world from some other species, from another planet.
That a nuclear war cannot be won and should never be fought. They forget what JFK said.
I'm confident, as I look to the future, that our chances for security, our chances for peace, are better than they've been in the past. And the reason is because we're stronger. And with that strength is a determination to not only maintain the peace, but also the vital interests of the United States. To that great cause, Texas and the United States are committed.
That pursuing a path of nuclear war is a collective death wish for all of humanity.
That's Tulsi Gabbard pulling a Ronald Reagan.
In our obsession with antagonisms of the moment, we often forget how much unites all the members of humanity.
Remember, Reagan was once a Democrat who famously said, I didn't leave the Democratic Party. The Democratic Party left me.
Perhaps we need some outside universal threat to make us recognize this common bound. I occasionally think how quickly our differences worldwide would vanish if we were facing an alien threat from outside this world.
Then our give up on energy independence and even energy dominant. We're going to be dominant within 6 months, more than any other nation ×2.
And yet I ask you, is not an alien force already among us? What could be more alien to the universal aspirations of our peoples than war and the threat of war?
Who felt like I was bringing voice to concerns that they were feeling in a really visceral way, but too afraid in this cancel culture to speak up and to say anything about it. And that's where I see opportunity for us as a country to be able to step up, speak the truth, exercise our freedoms, our right to free speech, independent thought, freedom of religion, the things, God-given rights that are enshrined in our Constitution. We've got to get back to that foundation for us to have hope to move forward as a country.
The open threats by various countries of the use of nuclear weapons, something never mentioned or discussed by outside nations during the Trump administration, and which could very well lead under the Biden administration's leadership to an all-out nuclear World War III can happen. We're not very far away from it, believe it or not.
I keep, in my frustration sometimes, you know, actually, if you count some of the things going on in smaller countries and all, there have been about 114 wars since World War II. But I've often wondered, what if all of us in the world discovered that we were threatened by a power from outer space, from another planet? Wouldn't we all of a sudden find that we didn't have any differences between us at all? We were all human beings, citizens of the world, and wouldn't we come together to fight that particular threat?
These are the things that are most important for our leaders to focus on. This is the thing that I'm focused on, because if we don't deal with this now, if we don't hold our leaders to account to do their job, President Biden, Congress, de-escalate these tensions, negotiate a peaceful settlement to this ongoing escalation of war that we are seeing, we won't have this conversation in a month, because society will be finished.
Well,
the world will end as we know it.
Let's hope that we're nowhere close to that, and that
where this continues to go is what we've seen already, is a continued escalation. And if it continues to escalate, we already know, because he's talking about it, the only place this goes is an eventual nuclear war or World War III. Both of those outcomes are terribly devastating, potentially catastrophic for the people of this country and the people of the world.
Outside in the universe, we'd forget all the little local differences that we have between our countries, and we would find out once and for all that we really are all human beings here on this earth together.
That has now gone woke at the top levels by trying to indoctrinate everyone down to the lowest ranking patriot. But now they have really stepped up their efforts by indicting the 45th President of the United States.
Bring President Trump in. Is that really going to change anything? No, because they decided the outcome of that commission on day one, completely biased, no sincere effort to say, hey, let's actually find the facts and see where this goes. So I think, like a lot of Americans, they're looking at this as political theater.